Let me read to you a passage from the 23rd chapter of St. Matthew's Gospel, verses 1 to 12. It's the Gospel for the 31st Sunday in the ordinary time of the liturgical year, Year A. St. Matthew writes, Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "The teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must obey them and do everything they tell you. But do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy loads and put them on men's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. Everything they do is done for men to see. They make their phylacteries wide and the tassels on their garments long. They love the places of honour at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogues. They love to be greeted in the marketplaces and to have men call them Rabbi. But you are not to be called Rabbi, for you have only one Master and you are all brothers. And do not call anyone on earth your Father, for you have only one Father, and he is in heaven. Nor are you to be called teacher, for you have one teacher, the Christ. The greatest among you will be your servant. For whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted." That's from Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 to 12. It speaks of God as the one Lord and Father. In that Gospel that I've just read, from Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 to 12, our Lord reminds us that we have only one Lord and Father, and he is God in heaven, and that we have only one teacher, and he is Christ. What our Lord is saying is a variation of the first of the 10 Commandments, that there is only one God, and we are to serve him alone. From him comes all authority, and those exercising authority and those subject to it must all strive to acknowledge and serve God alone. No one, in any sense whatever, is to arrogate independently to himself God's place, his glory, or his authority. On one occasion our Lord was asked, which is the first of the commandments? He said that this is the first, that we are to love the Lord our God with all our mind, heart, soul and strength. Luke chapter 10, verse 27. If the individual and society are ever to learn how to live in happiness and fulfillment, this fundamental commandment must be observed. If God's authority is neglected and forgotten, the well-being of man and society will be neglected and forgotten. Of course, there are all sorts of difficulties in recognizing the authority of God in daily and social life. Our Lord himself alludes to one such at the start of our Gospel passage I read earlier, Matthew chapter 23, verse 1. He tells the people and his disciples that the scribes and the Pharisees occupy the chair of Moses. You must therefore do what they tell you and listen to what they say, but do not be guided by what they do. Here, our Lord is addressing those who are subject to authority. There was this difficulty, that even though those exercising authority were not worthy incumbents of their office, their authority had to be respected, for they occupied the chair of Moses. In fulfilling our duties in society, we are answerable to persons who exercise civil and social authority, and who, however, may be unworthy. The temptation will be, especially in a democratic society in which authorities are readily and almost routinely attacked, to disregard and have little respect for authority itself, because of its all too human and faulty members, or bearers rather, those who bear the authority. We must daily find God in all things, and to the extent possible in the authority being exercised over us in social and civil life. Of course, our Lord not only addresses those subject to authority, he also addresses those possessed of authority. To some extent, that will include most of us. He tells those who are in some sense a master or a teacher or a father to remember that God is the only master, the only father, and the only teacher. In respect to this, let us remember that most people have some influence and some authority. They may possess some authority in the home or in the workplace. They may exercise some influence over others due to their greater knowledge of some field or because of some other attainments or personal gifts. Whatever be our position and influence and the good we may have done or are currently doing, we must remember that God is its ultimate source, and to him we must give the glory. He is the only master, father and teacher. To him we ought to be referring those who might be disposed to give us the glory. All this is to say that whoever we are, whether in authority or subject to it, whether influencing others or being influenced by them, whether we are a teacher in some sense or a pupil in some other sense, whatever be our situation, we ought to be striving to love and serve God and him alone. We are to serve our fellow man, but always in God and according to his will. It is God who is the master, the teacher, the father. He is the all. The danger of the modern secular age is to accept, allow, and aspire to moral goodness while not allowing nor aspiring to religion. We are tempted to a humanism without God, to the attempt to make man central while regarding God as absent. We cheerfully neglect, we tend to banish God from life and society. Our danger is that we shall fail to recognize and serve God in all that we do, and instead accept the prevailing cultural and social assumption, which is of morality without religion. Our secular society thinks that it is right and proper to be free of the thought of God and to build our civilization according to what is right, but as if God were not a reality, but a mere opinion, indeed a phantom. The reality of God is quietly and politely shelved, and the business of life pursued with other masters, fathers, and teachers, being happily installed in God's place. We can be infected with this attitude. The virtue of religion, that virtue whereby we give homage to God, is deemed to be a private and unnecessary feature of the human personality. It is looked upon as a prop or a function of something else which is more useful. Our Lord makes it clear in our Gospel today from Matthew chapter 23 verse 1 to 12 that no one and nothing is to usurp the reality and the supreme position of God in everything. Religion is not just a private matter. It is also a public and objective matter, for God, who is our Creator, Lord and Redeemer, is the fundamental reality sustaining all of creation. Let us never, in effect, exalt ourselves before God by pushing him from our sight and service. As our Lord says, whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Let us make it a daily mission of our life to do all we can to ensure that in all things God is served, honoured and glorified as the one Lord, Father and Teacher of man, of society and of all things, seen and unseen.